So, Jackie, thank you so much for joining us here on Shine 2021. Jackie is the mother of Nicole Fox Fenland, who passed away by suicide in 2018 after a period of prolonged online abuse. Jackie channeled her excruciating grief into changing Ireland in Coco's name, fighting tirelessly for legislation that could better protect others from online bullying and abuse. Jackie, thank you so much for chatting to us for Shine 2021.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank
Jackie,
you.
first of all, tell us about Coco's story. What was she like?
Growing up, she was funny, lively, bubbly, very outgoing. She was cheeky. Don't get me wrong, she wasn't and many times I ran up the stairs after her because she'd love just to get the last word in, and but growing up we had a mobile home down in Wexford, and we spent all the time, all the summer, midterm, bank holidays, every time we could get a chance, myself and Nicole and her two brothers would go down. And she had a lot of friends down there because the same people always went down, and um, we spent all the time on the beach. We'd go crab fishing. They jumped off the pier with their armbands and then learned how to jump off without their armbands. And we go forest walks at 1 and 2 in the morning. Just we always did little adventures with them and stuff. But she was great. She was great growing up. Very lively and bubbly, funny.
She sounds like a typical normal teenager. Now,
Yeah.
tell me, when did the bullying start? And being a mother, how did you cope with your child going through something like that? I cannot imagine what it must have been like for you.
Um, it started when she was turning 18, and she started to experience going out to a nightclub, and she couldn't wait until she got to a nightclub, and she had this boy who was her best friend, and they did everything together, and she used to go down with him to the nightclub. But there was two girls in particular, and one of them liked this boy, and the only way she could get closer to this boy was to make friends with Nicole. um that was fine, and everything was great until she realized that the boy didn't want to go out with her, and he didn't want to be with her. So that's when things started to turn nasty. um when I said it started off with two girls, the group got bigger. One of the girls actually moved to England and admitted what I'm going to tell you now was just true jealousy. So the girl that liked this boy, she couldn't bully Nicole on her own, so she had to form a bigger group. And it started off with two in the group, three in the group, but it got bigger and bigger. Um, the abuse started happening. It started off with little things here and there, and then Nicole would go out to the smoking area with her friends. Now Nicole didn't smoke, but she'd go out to the smoking area with her friend, and they started to put cigarette butts out onto her skin. They'd stick them in her leg or her arm or whatever, and go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. That was an accident," but it happened a good few times. And Nicole was only 5 foot. She was only my height, and she loved to dance and sing, and she'd be on the dance floor, and they would follow her on the dance floor. No matter where she'd go on the dance floor, they'd follow her, and they'd pretend to dance beside her, where they'd give her an elbow in the face or an elbow in the chest, really hard. There was a flight of metal stairs in the nightclub, where one of them got her by the hair and pulled her down and literally bounced her off every step, every metal step in the nightclub. Another time, one of the girls, Nicole was coming out of the bathroom, and one of the girls pushed her so hard into the corner of the table that they actually dislocated her hip. And other girls made friends with Nicole. She thought they were her friends, but they were actually friends of the main girl. And they would be up in Nicole's room, and they'd be getting ready to go out. And one of them actually stuck, the wand for curling your hair. They stuck that to her skin and held it there. But Nicole took an overdose in 2015 because of the physical abuse. Myself and Nicole spent 4 days and nights in hospital, and I remember the doctor saying to her, "Do you regret it?" And Nicole saying, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, that's good." And she goes, "No, I regret it didn't work." And she was my only girl. I have two boys. She was my only little girl,
Yeah,
and my beautiful daughter.
yeah.
And And when you hear your daughter saying something like that,
Mm.
you know, the fear that just runs through you. Um, I could see a big difference in Nicole, where I was losing that funny, lively, bubbly, happy girl that she was. She she wasn't smiling as much. She stayed in her room a lot, and I would hear her most nights crying, going to bed, and she'd wake up the next morning feeling just as sad as she did the night before. But every night, I'd always go into her room, or every night she'd sit at the end of my bed, and every single night before she go to bed, she'd go, "Night, ma'am, I love you." And I go, "Night, Coco Pops." That's what I used to call her. I go, "Night, Coco Pops, I love you too." But one day I walked into her room, and Nicole had gotten her nails and dug them so deep into her legs and so deep into her belly that she bled. And another time I walked into her room, and she was crying, and I lay on the bed with her, and she said, "Ma'am, I can't be here anymore. And the only reason why I can't kill myself is because I don't want to leave you heartbroken." And that's the type of person Cole was. She wasn't even thinking of herself, and she was thinking of, she knew how devastated, beyond devastated I'd be, you know, if she did. But these people weren't happy and just physically abusing her. And it went online then, and with WhatsApp and Snapchat,
Mm.
and you have, and Anonymous, you have all the groups, and um, they 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 made a WhatsApp group, and they all joined in together, and they spread loads of vicious rumors all around social media. And by the time Cole found out about them, sure, it was too late. It was, they were already spread around. And she never responded once to them. Not once did she ever respond to them. And she they always they always said, hang yourself and slit your wrists, and everyone hates you and no one wants you, and you'd be better off dead. And they used to send her videos of a noose on how to hang yourself. um from Yes, sorry, go on.
I just can't imagine you as a parent seeing your daughter transform into something that was practically unrecognizable by this outside force. Like, was there support for you? Was there
No,
any support at all?
no. They made a fake Facebook page
Mm.
called Saoirse, and they threatened to put her on life support machine, beat her up so badly and put her life support machine. But we did go down to the guards. But when we went down to the guards, Nicole was obviously over 18, so she had to make the statement. And um, the guard was going to take the statement, and she said, "I can't do that." She said, "Look what they're doing to me." She said, "Ma'am, if I make a statement, and guards knock at their door, they'll kill me." She said, "Look what they're doing to me now." And as I said, Nicole was 18 when she first went out. The main girl that picked on her, the main girl that started it, she was 23. And the ones that burned her with the tongues, and they were in their 20s, but they each had a child as well. So they were mothers, and these weren't, it wasn't schoolyard bullying, do you know what I mean, or playground bullying. These were adults that did this. The powerlessness was the one was the hardest, because there was no there's no legislation. There was no legislation to help anyone online, against these nasty people. And as I said, at the start, when they started all this, it was because of a boy, and it was because of jealousy, because she couldn't get the boy, so she just, and to be allowed to do that, was,
But
it's
it's not unusual for us to hear of, things happening in school, but to take it to such a level where it goes online and where it goes to physical abuse, like this couldn't have been easy for you to witness or for her to be going through as such a young person as well. You're developing yourself. You don't know who you are as a person, and you're trying to maneuver through that. And then here is an outside source putting an added extra pressure on you. And as a mom, you have to now maneuver through that as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and as you said, watching her going through it, Nicole, even growing up, she never suffered with mental health issues or anxiety or anything like that. But
Mm,
as time was going on, um, she used to go up and get ready in her room, and she'd have her makeup on and her dress, and I'd be saying, like, would you not just stay in? And she'd say, Ma'am, like, I should be able to go out and have fun. And she was right. But then I would hear her thrown up in the bathroom, and I'd go up and I'd hold her hair, back for her, um, and it would be because of nerves at the thought of going out. But she should have been allowed to go out. She should have that right to go out. But then she'd come down the stairs, and she'd stand at the door, or take a selfie, and or she'd say, "Ma'am, take a picture," and she'd have this big huge smile on her face, and it was that mask that she used to wear, like that. And
mm,
she always said, like, that she's not going to let them get the better of her. And she'd go out with a big smile on her face, and nobody know that, a half an hour or an hour before that, she's thrown up in the bathroom. And as I said, from someone that was so funny and lively and bubbly, they just destroyed her. And with especially with the online abuse, it just got deeper and deeper and deeper into her head. Do you know what I mean? She just they tore her apart. They took her confidence, they took her smile, they took her life,
mm.
um, because they could,
Yeah,
just because they could,
yeah.
you know.
Now, Jackie, I know this is probably one of the most difficult things you've ever gone through, but
Yeah.
what was it like then for you coming to the end and Nicole, the end of Nicole's life?
Okay.
What was that time like for you?
When we on on that day, on the 18th of January, I dropped my son to work, and
Mm,
I went on around to collect my other son, Lee, who was 14 at the time, from school. And we did something stupid that I never normally did. We went to the chipper on the way home. And, I often said that if we didn't go to the chipper that day, would we have made it home in time to to save her? And I was gone an hour. So we left at 20 past 3, and I got home at 20 past 4. Myself and my 14-year-old son Lee walked in to the hall, and there in front of us, we found in front of us was the step ladder. Nicole had got the step ladder, and the dog's lead, and she had hung herself from the banisters in the hall. And I remember screaming at Lee to take her down, just take her down. And when I ran over and lifted her up by the legs, to try and get the weight off her neck, and Lee had unhooked the dog's lead, and I didn't even feel her coming down my arms, and I lay her on the floor and rang the ambulance and put them on life on loudspeaker. And I was doing CPR on her, and while I was doing CPR, begging her not to go, not to leave me. And we were only gone an hour, and she was still warm, and her heartbeat, she still had a heartbeat, so she was still alive. But then when she got in the ambulance, when they put her in the ambulance and we were on the way down to the hospital, I wasn't allowed in the ambulance with her. And she took a massive heart attack on the way down to the hospital. But being that strong little person that she was brave. She was strong going out, facing up to these people. She was strong because she held on and tried to hold on so hard because of me, so she wouldn't leave me heartbroken. But then she died in the ambulance, and they got her heartbeat back again. So she was still holding on.
yeah,
And when she got to the hospital, these people got their wish because she was put on life support machine. And I remember the doctor called myself and my two boys into the room, and Lee had said, "Is she going to be okay?" And he said no, that her organs are going to start shutting down, and that she has got extensive brain damage. And I said to him, "But she can't have," because we were only gone an hour. Like, she can't have. And but she had, and that was on the Thursday. So the Thursday and the Friday, I stayed in intensive care with her, and we I I was holding her hand and I was rubbing her hair and like saying, "You're going to be okay." And at this stage, I still thought I was going to bring her home.
Of course.
I didn't comprehend that she wasn't ever coming home with me again, But at the next morning, on the Saturday morning, the nurse, our heart started going erratic, and our blood pressure, and the nurse said to me that Jackie, it's time. And I remember getting on the bed with her, and I said to her, I was rubbing her face, and I said to her, "Cole, just let go." And I said, no one is ever going to hurt you again, and no one's ever going to be able to touch you. And the last thing then I said to her was, "I love you, Coco Pops." And she died then.
Oh, Jackie, I'm filled with grief hearing that story, because I know every single person watching this will understand your pain. And there is no way you could have known what was going to happen. There is no way you should blame yourself for going to the chipper at all. Like, there is
Now
no way you could
I
have.
realise that it wouldn't have made a difference. But when you just think, when you're beating yourself up, like, because you couldn't keep her here.
I'm incredibly sorry to hear about her life ending. And I really, really, really want you to know that we are all behind you and we're all supporting you. Now, after that, I don't know how you did it, but you managed to pull yourself together and you fought. You fought for your daughter, and you fought for a lot of other people who have been put through the same thing. Now, tell me about that. The Harassment, Harmful Communication and Related Offences Law, or Coco's Law, it was passed at the end of 2020 after your tireless campaign. It was led by you, and it now makes online bullying and harassment a criminal offence. That is no easy feat. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Now, tell us about the campaign.
Okay, how I started the campaign was I was lying in bed, in Nicole's bed one night, and I came that close to going with Nicole. I was here, my boys and my family were on this side, and Nicole was somewhere else, and she was supposed to be here with me, and I just wanted to be with her, but strangely, weirdly, I got a phone call from a cousin of mine who I haven't heard in ages, and what she said to me on that phone call just turned everything around. So I decided to fight instead of going with Nicole, not because I didn't love her, not because I didn't miss her any less. It's because I don't know. I just knew I had to. I knew I had work. There was work to be done. So I didn't understand what that work was, but through that phone call, I was told that you're not wanted up here, ma'am. That you've too much work to do. And that just changed everything. I didn't understand, but that now I do, But I started to I went to TDs and stuff and all, and they didn't pay attention. I think they thought I was mad, and I had protests outside the doll. I had a huge march, and everyone brought one single pink balloon, for Nicole, and I kept going, but I knew I wasn't getting anywhere with the TDs at the start. So I wanted to try and get the Irish people behind me, and it wasn't even only the Irish people. It was England, Germany got back to me, Australia. Mental, but the people living in Ireland were they shared everything constantly. I made a Facebook page, Let's Bring in Coco's Law page, and they all shared everything I put up, and they came out with me. They supported me 100%. Fantastic. So I had the people behind me, and then I was able to go on the TV, radio stations, you know, in the paper. So it was getting highlighted what I was trying to do. To be honest, I winged it all the way. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I wanted, but I couldn't see that far ahead that I was going to get it. Do you know what I mean? But the reason why I didn't give up was, at this stage I changed to survival mode, if you like. It was either have a focus and a campaign to stay here, or go with Cole. So I was in a survival mode, you know, and eventually, you know, without going all into all the politics stuff and all the meetings and stuff and all, we got a petition together, and we got over 40,000 people on the petition, which was great. But I arranged a media meeting outside Leinster House to hand the petitions over to the TDs.
You were a
that were helping.
brave woman. I can't imagine stepping up and saying, you know what, here is my petition. You take that now.
Oh no, I had so many meetings with them where I gave it to them. Do you know what I mean? Now I was never rude, or you know, I had manners all the way. I was very respectful all the way, but very blunt in what I wanted, and I knew what I wanted. I actually had a meeting with it was me. I'm only 5 foot, and I was behind a podium, which was that height, you know. And I had a meeting in the Dáil, in the AV room. And sometimes you might get one TD in, you might get 3, you might get none. So it was a look at the draw that day that I got. The whole place was full, and it was full of everyone from different parties, that, you know, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, but they were on tiered seats, and they were all in their suits. And I'm standing there barely able to look over, and I'm saying to myself, oh, good Lord, what the hell am I, how? But you know what? I did it because at the end of it, that's where it changed around, because at the end of it, one of them stood up and said, instead of working all in separate parties, we worked together to bring in this. But when I went, Brendan Howland was the main man in Labour, and when I went to him, I said, there's 2 things that I want, 2 things I have to have. 1 is a law, and 2 is it named Coco, Coco's law. And the reason why we named the Coco, because when Nicole was born, my 9-month-old nephew, he couldn't talk. He was only learning how to talk, and he couldn't say the name Nicole, and he could only say Coco. And that's where her name stood for you know, for if the family name, you know. But yeah, it came in 2s, not 1. It had to be a law and a legacy, both, because I said to my mum that I'm going to make sure that she's never forgotten, that she just didn't die for nothing, that she was never going to be forgotten, you know. And it was so important for me to have her legacy as well. But yeah, when I handed over the petition to the TDs, I about half an hour later, we were still there, and I got a call from the Department of Justice that they wanted a meeting with me, and I says, yeah, okay. I said, when? He goes, now. And I'm like, do you ever get that goosebumps where you're being sent to the principal's office in school?
Yeah.
And your stomach just sank. I was like that, because I didn't know if I was in trouble or what, you know. But I went up to the Department of Justice, flew up there, and they said at this very moment, Coco's petition has gone down to the conference centre, and they're having a meeting about it tonight. Anyway, without all the politics, as I said, things started to move fairly quickly. But 10 days before it was going to be in, 10 days before Nicole's part was going to be in, um, Minister Helen McEntee, she was kind of only new to the job, but she said that that's not going to be called Coco's law, that Coco wasn't going to be any part of it. And
that must have been shocking for you, because it was something you had requested.
And I heard it on Facebook as well. They didn't even tell me, you know. So I got my crew together, if you like, March for Justice Ireland, who had been just, when I thought I was being defeated, they came in at the right time and just dragged me up again and says, get out and fight what you want, you know. And but I did Yeah, she wasn't having any of it. And I had 10 days, just 10 days to turn what she was known as the Ice Queen. Anyway, uh, I sent her a private video, and I was shocked. She watched it,
Mm.
and she texted me straight away, and she says, I'll ring you later." And I said, "No, I want to see it. I want to see it personally." And I think it was the next day. Oh, it was the next day. I had a meeting with her, and I didn't think I was going to break her. Do you know what I mean? I thought like she's going to, but do you know what? She ended up crying at the meeting, and we just actually connected. And she's not a nice queen; she's actually a lovely person, you know. And anyway, to cut all that, yeah, she gave Nicole more than what we actually asked for, because and she didn't have to. She really didn't have to. She first of all, she gave Nicole a memorandum
Mm.
that's going to be in the that's you have the long name, that the Harassment, Harmful Communication and Related Offence Bill. Okay, no, when you get off that, no one's going to remember that, right? No one's
Mm.
going to remember that name. So it's referred to as Coco's Law, legally referred to as Coco's Law. So that's great. That was brilliant. So when you look up Coco's Law, shall I read out the
Yes, go
memorandum?
ahead.
And when you look up Coco's Law, it will say the content of this bill is strongly influenced by persons who have lost their lives because of online harmful communications, in particular Nicole Fox. The bill is in recognition of her mother's determination to honour the memory of her daughter and to strengthen the law so that others could be safer. As a result, this bill can be referred to as Coco's Law. And not only that, then as well, she's, because the president signed it in and she has a memorandum in the law,
Mm.
she's also in the Irish statute books forever, long after we're gone. And then, you know, DCU, they joined in with Coco's Law, and their Webwise is making a hardback a paperback copy with Coco's Law in it, and Coco's Law is going to be in the curriculum, in the school curriculum, for everyone to know what Coco's Law is. Um,
I find this
so yeah,
incredible because even after all of that lobbying and after all of your fight, there was still, you didn't stop there. You know, you still went up to Justice Minister Helen McEntee. You also talked to Labour TD Brendan Howlin, and you were like, let's get this into the curriculum. You know, let's
yeah,
make this happen,
mm,
because
mm,
it's not just about, you know, the now, it's about the future and educating our
yeah,
kids. And
yeah,
I'm glad you saw the importance of that and
yeah,
you pushed it.
yeah. And even now, although um, the Coco's Law is in now,
Mm.
I still go to schools, colleges, youth clubs, community centres. Obviously, everything's on Zoom now, but I will be going back into the schools, just not because I have to, or I have to fight, or I have to prove a point to get Coco's Law in, because it's already in. It's that people do need to hear a real life experience, not a textbook experience, you
Mm.
know, of what not what can happen, what does happen to
Yeah.
people. Do you know what I mean? And the devastating effects that it can happen. Now I have more meetings coming up with the ministers in the government, but and that's they're sorting out what education, where I'm going with, and there'll be conference meetings and stuff and all, you know, educating Coco's Law. Um it's do you know what though? People say to me, "Oh, you must be so proud." And you know, no, I'm not, because no, I am. Don't get me wrong, I am,
Okay.
but um, I shouldn't have to do. I shouldn't have having to do that. You know, I shouldn't have having to bring in a law. That law should have been in a long time ago to protect people that were vulnerable, or you know, like to stop. There should have been a legislation implemented years ago when all these apps came in. I shouldn't have having to lose my baby, you know, and do all this. And people, they don't understand. You know, they're fantastic and they've done brilliant and they shared it. They've been behind me 100%. But I do get a lot of texts saying you should be so happy. No, I'm not happy at all. And you know what? okay, the law is here to help everyone else, and that's what I fought for, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm delighted. And Nicole has, for such a little person that she was, she has such a huge legacy behind her, and that is brilliant. But I'll never ever see Gold smiling again. I'll never hear her voice. I'll never get those hugs off her. Um, I'll never hear her say, "I love you, ma'am." So I don't. It's just a huge bittersweet moment. You know, don't get me wrong. It is great that it's passed and she has a legacy, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything for us, because like the missing her is just, there's no words. There's no words. I you know
Can't imagine.
you just want her back. You know.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And as much as we know, it's it will never bring her back. Your
Yeah.
strength alone has helped so many people. You have no idea how much your words and your lobbying and this law has
Yeah.
changed so many lives and will
Yeah.
change so many lives. So
Yeah.
I I understand that it will never bring her back, but just know that it will probably save
Yeah.
a lot of lives.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I was working closely with a detective as well, and you know, as I was going along, you know, and he said, "Jackie, you haven't got a clue what you've just done." And do you know why I don't? Because do you remember when I said that I got into survival mode,
Yeah,
and that's what I did. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't look past of what I winged it, as I said, all the way, and I didn't look past what it is actually going to be. And now that it's past, do you know, now that it's past, now I focus so much on the campaign and to stay here. Now that it's past, I feel like I'm just grieving now
yeah,
for Cole. Do you know what I mean? So I can't even get it in my head what it actually means yet. Do you know what I mean? It's going to take a while, but the guards, there's people that have texted me, and so many, like all the way through the campaign, and of what their kids are going through or what they're going through, you know, whatever. And now they're texting me saying they went to the guards, and all the guards are just saying, "Yeah, Coco's law, use Coco's law," and also, and then even I was listening to the news yesterday, and it came up on the news, Coco's law and stuff, but and they're not using the big name, the harassment, harmful communication related. It's too long, and yeah, it's just
they're
Coco's law,
using
and
Coco.
but I can't. I was only saying to my mum, was it yesterday or the day before? I said, "Mum, like, there's a law in Ireland named after her baby girl, you know, and because it's my mum's granddaughter as well, do you know what I mean? And she misses her so much, and but we can't actually comprehend that, you know.
Of course not,
We
of
just
course
have
not.
to try
You
and
know,
deal with the now. Do you know what I mean?
of
Deal with,
course.
that.
I think one of the questions you always get asked is, how do you build resilience and how do you go through something so tough and keep going? And I think you made a really good point there by just saying it's just one day at a time.
Oh,
You
definitely.
can't think too far ahead. You just have to think in the now and one day at a time. And each day will present a different challenge and a different task, but you'll get there. And it's just about
Yeah.
trying to see that you can put that foot forward for anybody that's
Yeah.
going through something as difficult. Now, what would
Yeah.
you say to any girls who are listening to this or watching this that are currently facing online bullying? What should they do?
Uh, okay. Now they have the protection that Nicole never had. And the main thing, and I always say it is, the main thing is don't 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 hold it in, don't keep it in, don't say, "Oh, it'll get better," because it will go deeper and deeper and deeper into your head if you don't go and talk to if you're in school. As I said, Nicole, they were adults with Nicole, but talk to your teacher, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to anyone, anyone that you know will listen to you, but do not go home and sit in your room and self-harm, and the way Nicole did as well. And don't get to that situation, don't get to that place. There is help out, and especially now with online abuse, use it. It's there now. Nicole never had it. And for the people that are listening, that are bullies or knows of someone that is bullying, stop it now. Because what gives anyone the right to take someone's confidence away, to take someone's smile away, and, as I said, to take someone's life away where they feel they can't live past another day? What gives anyone the right to do that to someone? And if you continue it and someone does take their life because of it, well, that's on your head forever. That is on your conscience forever. So just don't do it. And can I just say really quick, I'm on a through the campaigning that I did, while I was campaigning, I go to a hug group, it's called, and the hug group is it's a bereavement through suicide group. So it's you have to have lost a loved one through suicide to be in this group. It's the group nobody wants to be in, but it's there for people. But I was training while I was campaigning. I was training to become a facilitator to help people in the group, and I'm a fully trained facilitator now. And now I'm myself and another girl, Grace, is running our own hug group in Tala at the moment, for anyone who has lost someone through suicide. So that's keeping me occupied as well. It's I think this is my path now. Just the path I never wanted to take either, but
look at you
now.
now.
I know.
Absolutely, look at
you.
You're an incredible woman. You're an incredible woman that exudes strength and just resilience. It's commendable. It is commendable. And
but then the people don't see me. They see me talking and stuff, but they don't see when you wake up and you can't breathe because you're crying that much. And so it's I suppose I was strong to do it, but I'm not strong as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really that strong.
But I think strength, I think we have this almost, the way we see strength isn't how I think strength actually is. Strength isn't showing those weak moments. It's in being encapsulated by your grief and being okay with that. Like, you've been through something so difficult, and to me, strength is showing those moments where the cracks might be there, or you can't get up in the morning. It's all encompassing. Strength isn't just about those days when you're looking well and everything seems okay. No, strength is absolutely all the little bits in between. And you've been so brave and so honest to speak about those moments, and even now being so honest with your emotions, I think that shows real strength.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, Jackie, Coco might be gone, but she has certainly not been forgotten. Her legacy will live on thanks to you. Jackie, you're an inspiration to so many, showing us what a mother's love firsthand truly looks like. Through your determination and through your strength, you've made a monumental difference. We wish you all the happiness and all the joy you so much deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for letting me share Nicole's story with you. It's not mine, it's Cole's story, so.
And now it's all of our stories. Thank you so much, Jackie.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay.